Hello everyone, my name is Juan. I am from Cocodrilo Dog Games. We are an indie studio that is specialized in rhythm adventure games. We have an engine called Chori. It is about interactive music. And we also have this engine that is called Motion Kit. Motion Kit is basically a system where you can animate anything in Unity. You can animate float properties, vector tree properties, color properties, and you can do it in a very easy way. It is very similar to DoTween, the popular twinning engine that is out there, but it just has a few differences that I will discuss as we go over this video. So the Motion Kit is available for you to download. It is open source now. There's a website in GitHub that I will put in the description for you to be able to download and install it via Package Manager. So yeah, this system comes in two flavors. You can use it either way you like. So you can use it either with Inspector tool, which is this component Motion Kit component, and you can use it as well with scripting. So I have two examples that you will be able to download. This is the one that I'm showing you, Motion Kit Demo Blocks. Blocks is the name for the inspector version of the objects of the Motion Kit. And there is also the Motion Demo Script, which is basically the same thing that you just saw, but it is done via scripting. So let us this open. So this script is basically doing exactly the same thing as the Motion Kit component in the other scene, but you can see that the result is exactly the same. Okay, so here we have this rotation, here we have this color animation, this kind of wavy motion like in the y-axis, and this scaling up and down with the clicking of the cubes. So that's it. Okay, so the Motion Kit is basically a system where you can animate anything. You can animate any property of any object from an initial value to a final value, and it will have a duration, and it also allows you to put different curves to create the motion. So we can do like elastic animations, we can do like scene animations, uh, quad in out. Like if you're familiar with that type of easing, then this will be easily recognizable by you. You can also use customized animation curves to create your motions. Um, so yeah, the Motion Kit handles three different types of values, which is float, motion 3D, and motion color. In float, for example, you could animate like the volume of an audio source, for example. Um, with motion 3D, you can animate, of course, positions, scales, rotation. With motion color, you can animate anything that is any property that has color values. And we have also these additional objects. One is the timer. A timer is just basically what it is. It's a timer. So what you would expect of this is just a duration, and in the end of that time span, then you will trigger an action, right? That's basically the use for the timer. You have also sequences, and you have also parallel. With these two objects, you can create composite animations. So basically, yeah, you can nest objects within objects. You will see this in the next slide. So for example, the sequence, here we have a motion 3D. After the motion 3D, we have a timer. So whatever object is moving will stop. Then we have another motion 3D, and then we have another motion 3D. This could be, for example, moving to the right, then stopping for a while, then moving down, then moving to the left. This is an example, right? With parallel, you can put whatever elements you want to put inside, and they will start at the same time. So yeah, basically this is like a track containers. You will have many tracks that start at the same time. And if you go wild, you can do composites with parallels, sequences, and motions, like in this example. So here we have a parallel that contains 3 sequences, and each one contains a timer with a different duration each time, and then a motion 3D. So for example, you could have like 3 spheres that they move from the bottom to the top. One starts first, the other goes after, and the third one goes after with this timer in the beginning. So you can create whatever you think of with this composition system, right? So I will go back to the Motion Kit demo block scene. I just wanted to show you how it is set up in the inspector for you to kind of get a better understanding. Okay, so here we have the root object, which is basically the component, and we have a rotation parallels, which is basically all the rotations of each cube. They start at the same time, but they have a difference in the angles that they are rotating, right? So one starts slightly after the other one, and so on. So that's the reason why we have this kind of yeah, this kind of incremental difference in the angle. That's what we are doing with the rotation parallel. If we look inside, we will see all the objects here. So each of these rotation objects correspond to each of these cubes, and inside you can edit the values. In this case, for example, this cube is referencing the first one, and then you can choose, this is a 3D motion, for example, so you can choose whatever function or method or property receives a 3D value. Then you can choose it from there. Then you can set other settings like the duration, like the easing, which is the curves that I just described at the beginning. You can have this classic back in, back out, whatever. Um, for example, this elastic. Yeah, so they are very typically used in these type of systems. All right, and we have the values. So here we have an initial value of 0, 0, 0. The final value will be 360 around the x-axis. And you can navigate all the elements, all the motions that are contained in the overall composition. So you can go to the second one. You will see that this starts at 15 and then ends at 375 and so on. There are also some very powerful tools, which is the batch operations. Batch operations serve as a tool to make you do like very fast changes on the motions. One example would be that value in the rotation that we're seeing. So you can see that in the first rotation we have 0 and 360, and then in the second one we have 15 and 375, and so on. And that's done via a batch operation, which is, I think, is set incremental values 3D. So you can establish the rules, and once you have it, then you just hit run batch operations, and all the objects are updated with different algorithms. Like for example, I'm copying from one template block, I'm renaming the blocks, assigning the setters, etc. I'll do more detailed tutorials about this as we progress. But for now, I just wanted to show it to you for you to know that it exists. Um, One other thing that is very nice about this inspector tool is that you can navigate the whole structure through these breadcrumb buttons. So you can go up in the hierarchy, and you can also choose from the siblings that correspond to each of the steps of the hierarchy. So for example, this is the main, these are like the main siblings. So you remember that we were seeing them from the main object, it's rotation, gradient, move sequence. Once you are inside one of them, you can just choose their corresponding siblings. So we have the gradient parallel, which is the second one. That's the one that is causing the color to animate in the cubes. This one works just by animating a float value um, in the cube, and it's just a property that's called value within a object that is called gradient adapter. This comes also with the motion kit, so you can use it as you want. It's basically a gradient where it receives a value from 0 to 1, and it sets the color to any other color object that is attached to this game object. That's what these gradients are doing, and they work similarly to the rotation. They start with a different position in the color, so that's the reason why you see them like a rainbow. So um, yeah, we get a very cool effect with this. Okay, and finally we have the move sequence. This is basically a timer. It will wait 2 seconds, and then it goes and it starts a parallel of movements, which is basically a move up and down movement that starts with a timer. So you can see inside of each of the move up and down parallels, sequence, it will start with a timer of a certain duration, and the next one will start with a timer of a different duration. This one is 0.2, the one before was 0.1, and so on. So that's how we get this sequential effect, right? It starts a certain time, this starts 0.1 seconds after, and so on, and we have this cool effect. And this is also done through a set incremental duration batch operation. So this is very powerful, this is very efficient. It's very cool to work with this in Unity projects. I have worked with my own tool, which is this one, for about 4 years in many projects, and it has evolved a lot. So I think now is a very good time to share it with the dev community. I hope you benefit from it. You have a cool time. It is very nice to be working with this tool. I really enjoyed using it. I hope you will do it as well. And yeah, so that's basically it. I think yeah, I already showed you this one. So this is the script for the scripted version. So you have the ability to do it through the MotionKit component in the inspector, but you can do it as well with this scripting API that's available for you. There is also one example. Okay, so I will do a pause here first. So if you want to have all these scenes in your project, what you need to do is just go to the package manager. Once you have installed the Cocodrilo.core, which is a dependency for the Motion Kit, then you can proceed to install the Motion Kit tool, and then you can come here to the section of this tool and go to the samples tab and re-import, and you will have all those scenes and yeah examples there for you to try out and to explore and to learn a lot about the Motion Kit. I will put the instructions to install the package in the Unity editor in the GitHub, which is linked in the description below, so you will know how to get started. So one thing that I wanted to show you before I end the video is just this getting started scene. This is basically an onboarding exercise for you to just to get the basics of the Motion Kit. It's a very simple example, and I put a lot of notes here for you to yeah for you to get your head around it. Okay, so I will start to do more tutorials about this tool, and as I progress I expect to connect with you. Feel free to join our Discord server, which is linked in the description below. Also, if you want to follow us in our social networks, feel free to do so. Yeah, so that's basically it. So looking forward to continuing these tutorials and for you to get involved in using this amazing tool. I hope you like it. See ya.